Good evening, beautiful people of TikTok. I hope everyone has had a fantastic day. Normally I have a hot tea or a cold tea when we meet, but tonight I wanted an iced coffee. So that's what I made me, an iced coffee. I'm one of those people I can drink coffee any time of the day and still go to bed. So, good evening. My name is Christy, and I am a stage 4 breast cancer survivor, sharing my journey as I'm rebuilding my life after this diagnosis. I do want to, preface in saying that my cancer is what they call stable and non productive, so I'm cancer free. And I owe that healing to God and to God only. And he's allowed me to find some great products that I use every day. And I'm changing my eating habits. I'm working out, losing weight because I want to, not because my body has to. But tonight, yesterday we talked about the diagnosis, and the changes that you go through. Well, let's talk about what the diagnosis does to you when you're grieving. You're actually in a grieving process because you're grieving the life you thought you have, right? There's that quiet fear after the diagnosis. Even when you're staying strong publicly, there are private moments where the fear just it creeps in. It just does. Even now that I'm cancer free and all my labs and everything is good. Everything is great. I'm getting back my good evening, Patricia. How are you? Even though I'm getting my health back, I'm getting my mobility back. But in the beginning, I grieved a lot. I grieved a lot. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in. Please tap, tap, tap the screen for me. But I went through a private grieving process because when you're diagnosed with a chronic illness such as cancer, MS, lupus, things that they try to give you an expiration date for, you start to grieve your life. In 2019, I was at the height of my, hey brother-in-law, how you doing? I was at the height of my, I don't want to say career, but the job I had, it was great. I traveled with my job. I was able to vacation and travel all at the same time, right? Came home, was still sick, and then the pandemic hit. So now I'm not only grieving the job I had, now I'm grieving the life that I had planned. My kids are grown. I got grandkids. I don't have to have a permanent address anymore. I can just live out of my suitcase. I love hotel life. I love living out of my suitcase. I loved it. My life that I had planned prior to my diagnosis was continuing to work this job, traveling, and then traveling, and travel some more. That was my plan. But that wasn't the plan of this Nikki. I'm having me some iced coffee. It's so good. Nikki, I'm having me some iced coffee. It's so good. And then to grieve your old routines. I was a 100-pound weight loss. I gained back. So I was in my way of getting it off again. But then I couldn't walk as far. I couldn't breathe good. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? So I grieved motion. I grieved movement. Girl, you joined a fan club for 2 months. Hey, Yay! Celebrate, celebrate. Uh-oh, hold on. Let me... Oh, look at her. Volume ain't even... Yay. Um, so now, not only am I grieving not being able to travel, now I'm grieving my immobility. I can't walk far without feeling like I was going to cough up a lung. Just grieving. And grieving your sense of normalcy. I can't be around my grandkids as much because my immune system is just terrible. And grief is real. While I didn't necessarily grieve the diagnosis because God let me know that the diagnosis wasn't unto death, right? But I had to grieve not being able to do the things I wanted to do, the things I liked to do. And I've been cancer free for, it'll be 3 years in August. Completely cancer free, nothing new. August of this, it'll be August this year, right? But I'm still healing. And I've still been able to rebuild a life. I've since retired. So I'm building a business. I'm learning new things. But do I still grieve? Yes, because healing comes in layers. I still can only get in about 2,000 steps, and that's not every day. It's like maybe every other day. So I grieve not being able to get in my 10,000 steps a day. Sometimes I make light of it. I say things like, oh, my check engine light on my knees are acting up, or the check engine light on my back is acting up. But I try to laugh my way through it so I don't cry. But I'm sad about it. I'm not happy about not being able to do the things I want to do. Now, last year was the first year in 3 years that I traveled. So now that I know I have the ability to travel, I can. But was it sad when I got there? Yes, because it was a long flight. We had to wait a long time for our transport. So my back started aching. I didn't feel like I should be there. I didn't feel like I belonged because I was slow. I had my cane because I refused to travel with my walker. I refused to take Howard out the country. We was not taking Howard. That's what his name, my walker name is. Howard was not going to Cancun with me. But I went and I enjoyed myself so much. So now that I know that I can still travel, that's opened up something new in me. It's making me not feel so grievish about my immobility. I see it now as, okay, I just got to work a little harder. I got to figure out the best things for me and how to move. Maybe doing something every other day. Now, one thing I do every day, and I had got kind of lax on it, but I still do it every night. I may not do it in the morning too, but I do it every night, and that's that vibration plate. I have to do that because it keeps my lymphatic system moving. And we don't want no inflammation over here because inflammation equals pain. And I don't have time for that. Okay? And you know what? And right here, we're going to go a little off topic because I meant to tell this in the beginning, but this is really sad. This is really, really sad. It's going to be so sad. And I don't want to make y'all sad, but I'm going to. So I did my grocery order the other day, right? I don't know if you've seen it on my page, but my new little obsession with my cucumber salad. I love it, right? Ordered my cucumbers. I prepped them. I cleaned them. I didn't wash them. I just dried them. They say dry the cucumbers, wrap them in paper towels, put them in the crisper, close the crisper, and they'll last longer. Well, apparently my refrigerator did not get the memo. When I went to do some more filtered water, I noticed that the water that was in there, was about this much, was frozen solid. Did I check the cucumbers? No. I waited for the ice to melt, filtered some more water, and as I was putting the pitcher back in the refrigerator, I looked down in the crisper and my cucumbers looked wet. I said, surely, the refrigerator did not freeze my cucumbers. Because once cucumbers get excessively wet, they are mush. They're not edible. They just mushy. I couldn't have salvaged them if I wanted to, and it wasn't just a few. It was enough for a week. So all the cucumbers just gone. I was so sad. I just looked at them in the sink. I didn't cry. I wanted to. I just looked at them in the sink. I was like, well, I gave him a nice send off. The salad was still good with everything else in it. I just missed the cucumbers, right? I just had to deter and share my grief over my cucumbers. I did. I just wanted to share that. I'm sorry. Back to what I'm on here for, right? As you can see, I don't grieve my chronic illness as much anymore. There are sad moments. There really are. I do have some sad moments because chronic illness doesn't just change your body. It changes how you see life, time, relationships, and even yourself. So instead of when I was coming out of my grieving, I saw it as an opportunity. My son had retired from the military, so I'm able to talk to him more, be with his babies, my other G babies. They live in Houston, of course. Nobody told them to move to Houston, 3 hours away, but nevertheless, they here and I can see them when I want to. And my other grandkids, I spend time with them. I listen to them. They all a hot mess, but they mine. And I'm gonna keep them. I've deepened my relationship with my kids, except for the times I have to periodically divorce them because they get on my nerves, just like I get on their nerves. It's life be life, and right. And I've deepened my relationship with my sister. I know I've talked about it on here before. There's 15 years between my sister and I don't remember asking my mother for a sibling. I was okay with being the only child. So as a teenager, I wasn't happy about that. And then my birthday is on the 7th of October. She had the nerve to be born on October the 5th. You couldn't just let me have October all to myself. No. You just couldn't do it. But our relationship is hilarious. I love it. She is my biggest supporter, and I love her dearly. I can't imagine this phase of my life without her in it. And then she married a really great guy. I like my brother-in-law. It's good that, when you can like the family that you didn't ask for, eventually you like them, right? So being diagnosed with something, it changes your perspective. It really does. It changes how you look at things. You're not as scared to do stuff and to jump out and do stuff. I was just before I came on, I saw this lady talking about her and her husband. I forget how many years she said they've been married, but their kids were grown. Their routine was to take a walk every morning. They walked their dog. So this morning he's like, come on, let's go walk the dog. And she was like, no, I really need to do whatever it was she needed to do. And he was like, oh, come on, da 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 da, the dog. Yeah, we want you to go walking with us. But she said, no, y'all go ahead. I'll be here when you get back, right? Well, next thing you know, there's a knock at the door. It's the police. The police got the dog. And they said, ma'am, is this your dog? And she said, yes, but where's my husband? Well, ma'am, there's been an incident. The man had a heart attack while walking the dog. The dog barked and barked long enough to get someone's attention for them to call 911. But he had been down so long and oxygen not going to his brain that he was declared brain dead. So now he's on hospice because they pulled the plug, but he didn't quite pass on. But he's on hospice care because they don't expect him to live. Had she went on the walk, would that have changed his outcome? Don't know. But the moral of it is, and she said it so well, stop putting off doing the stuff that gives you joy. That was their thing. Walking the dog in the morning, talking to each other, making plans with each other. Because you never know what the next moment will bring, let alone the next day. There's been so many times in my life God has given me something to do or shared something with me to do. And I was like, well, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Or I'm not qualified to really do that. Or whatever the illogical reason I gave or said. Now I'm sitting here at 63, ready to live the life I really wanted, but that I kept putting off. I'm just living it differently. A lot of things have came really fast for me in the last couple of years. I've always wanted to write a book. I've written 5. Actually, I've written more than that. I've published 5. I published my first novel in February. Yes, February. And then the other books I've written, are about basically this topic here. I got one book, it's Navigating the Storm. It's talking about the grief, what we're talking about now. And never let anybody tell you how long to grieve a situation. Because there is no such thing as just get up and shake it off. If you just get up and go do something new, or get up and go, time will heal. No, that's a lie. Time doesn't heal. Time changes you. Time shows you how to deal with it. But the grief doesn't go away. You just learn how to live with it. Some days you just have to turn the lights off, get the house really cooled off, and just sit in it. Then get up, talk to it, and live again. I mentioned yesterday about getting out of survival mode, getting off that hamster wheel, because in the beginning I was on the hamster wheel. Work, take the medication, go get your tests, get the scans, go to work doing nothing, because I believed there was nothing but the next test. There was nothing but the next scan. I can't plan anything. Well, the devil is a lie. I'm planning and I'm doing things that I should have already done, but I'm not going to dwell on the past because I can't go back and change it. What I can do now is live. And I am enjoying the life that I'm building now. And I'm enjoying the people that God is allowing into my life now. And I love that for me. I love saying, no, I can't do that. No, that's not going to be possible. Or finally saying, yes, we're going to do that. Now, I want to take my 65th birthday is next year, and I want to take a family trip, but I can't get my sister to get on a cruise ship. She's scared of the water. So y'all pray for her, because I want to get her on the boat with me. That is my favorite form of travel, is a cruise. And I believe if I can get her on the boat, just maybe a 2-day trip, a short one, she will fall in love with it. I believe that. So I'm gonna have to ask my brother-in-law if he's scared of cruises, because if he ain't scared of the cruise, then we're gonna work on her together, and we're gonna get her on a short cruise. We'll take a short one, and then we'll introduce her to a big cruise, because I just think cruising is the way to go. Because if you don't feel like doing nothing, you can stay in your cabin, look at all that beautiful water. There's nothing you want for it. You got food whenever you want food. If you like the casino, they got a casino. If you like going to the show, they got shows, comedy, dancing, everything. They got everything you would want on this boat. Everything. And I got grandkids, so we have to do the non-adult only cruise. But see, if I was still living in my deep grief about the life I thought I would have. See, I wasn't grieving the diagnosis. I was grieving the life I thought I was going to have. But if I was still grieving that, I wouldn't be planning a trip. I think I have a trip in September to Aruba. Because last year was the first time I went to a all-inclusive resort. And baby, that's second to cruising. I mean, it's everything you need. You have to plan your excursions. Same thing with the cruise. That's a little extra. But other than that, your food, housekeeping, everything you need on an all-inclusive, all-adult. Well, wait a minute. Yes, this was an all-adult resort. It was wonderful. Now, the one that I'm going to in Aruba, it's a bigger resort, but it's not all inclusive. So the meals are not included. The meals are not included. I tried everything, not everything, but just about everything at the resort. They had a Japanese sushi bar. I tried the sushi. They had the steakhouse. I went to the steakhouse. They had a beautiful breakfast buffet every day. I tried different things off the buffet. It's wonderful. Because there's no calories when you go on vacation. No calories. None whatsoever. You diet going to the cruise so you can, vacation so you be cute. And when you come back, you back at it, right? So maybe I can get it. If I can't get it on the boat, maybe we can do it all inclusive, right? But, because I can get on a plane. She'll get on a plane. She'll get on the plane, but she won't get on the boat. But we're going to do something. Because it's also my oldest grandson, senior year. So I have to be respectful of his parental unit's pockets too, right? We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I hope so. If not, she did suggest a great party. Because she knows I like the roaring 20s and the 30s, the gangster time, Al Capone and all of them. There's a restaurant here she was telling me about this set up like a speakeasy. And maybe we'll go do that. Or maybe we can go to a murder mystery dinner. Because I like murder mysteries. We'll look into that too. If I can't get you on a boat, maybe we can do that. Okay. But yeah, I didn't grieve the diagnosis. Yes, I was sad. Yes, definitely. I can figure she'd go for that, right? So grieving what you thought you were going to do as opposed to now what you're doing. So it's not that you're not going to do it. It's just that you got to do it differently. So when I plan these trips, I just plan them differently. When I decided to start a business again, I just had to figure out my lane. Because part of my business that I'm in, I'm an affiliate with a health and wellness company. And at first I was excited about being back in the business because I was in it once before. But then it kind of got heavy because I wasn't seeing the transformation as fast as other people were seeing it. But I had to realize I'm dealing with a body where my cells have changed and deformed, and now they're getting back together. But I still lost 71 pounds last year. So my win is not necessarily the weight loss. My win is when I look at my labs now, they're all green. When I have my scans, they're all, everything is unremarkable. No signs of cancer. So that's my win. But another part of the business is really being outside all the time. So I was getting a little discouraged with that. And I was like, I don't want to not be in this business. But I just can't see how it's working for me because I'm not able to do it justice. So I prayed about it. I went on a fast. That was one of the things I was fasting about. And came up with a game plan. No, I can't be outside like everybody else because, one, I don't drive. Two, I move a little slower. But the main thing is I don't drive. Okay. So getting to all these different places is not, it's not easy. And it can be costly. Because Uber and Lyft are not cheap. Okay. So I was like, well, Lord, what can I do to showcase this product? And he gave me a game plan. So I got my March Madness orders and I'm working my business. I prayed on it. I've given it back to God. So now it'll flourish because I'm not trying to do what everybody else is doing in their capacity. I'm doing it from my capacity. And I get my results. I am consistent with my products. I feel great. The scale tried to start going back up, but now it's going back down. So if I don't get to my goal weight, I can accept that. But my transformation is this. Here, my mindset. I'm successful. I am sought out every day for the products that I represent. I'm sought out every day for the books that I write. I'm sought out every day to give encouragement. I changed my mindset. I changed the way I see my situation, and I changed the way I see my grief. I've taken my grief. I've dealt with it. I've cried over it. My sister has cried with me. And I've turned that into a message. I've turned that into cheering for somebody else on this app. When I see somebody who says they got diagnosed with cancer, I go in their comments. I encourage them through that, especially if they show that they have any kind of faith in Jesus. And if they respond back, I follow them. I say, okay, I'm going to follow you so we can keep in touch because I want to make sure you're okay. Sometimes God puts things in our life so that we can be, and said, I wrote it down. Hold please, because you know I do notes over here. Sometimes you get unexpected growth because it deepens your faith and you have deeper compassion and a clearer purpose in helping somebody else. Because our life isn't always just about us. The things we go through are not always just about us. That's why I can write Navigating the Storm. Grieving. That's how I can write about embracing life with cancer, how to navigate the medical system. That's how I can write about unmistakable passion, saying yes to your dreams, even in the situation that doctors say, that people say, not God, but they say has an expiration date. Because if you really think about it, we all got an expiration date. Some people just know when. See, I don't know when. I know what I'm confessing and what I'm believing for. Because I got grandkids to see grow up. I got grandkids. I want to see all of them graduate high school and college. Cameron is only, he'll be 3. So if college is, I still got, 20 plus years to go then. And I still got time to build a legacy for them, for my children's children's children. So sometimes we need a different perspective, and we need to grieve, and it's okay to grieve. I have a friend who's grieving the death of a grandchild. I forget how long it's been, but she's very, very much still in the middle of her grief. She's nowhere near coming out of her grief. While I don't understand the pain of losing a grandchild, especially the way she did, but I still have to have compassion and let her grieve. Because there's no expiration on how long it takes someone to grieve something. But you can't allow yourself to die in grief. You can't allow grief to kill you. Because it'll kill you before whatever happened to you. It'll take you out so far down in depression that it'll take you out. Because I had saved up pills. I had saved up a lot of my medication. I was just going to put myself out of misery of suffering and not having my kids to see me suffer. But they haven't seen me, well, they've seen me sick and not feeling well with this, but they haven't seen me suffer. And I thank God for that. I thank God I'm still here. And that I can give some type of compassion to somebody else in the midst of their journey. That there is a way to the other side of health, on this side of heaven. We don't have to wait till we get on that side of heaven, because on that side of heaven, everything is going to be great. Great. It's going to be outstanding. But I want to have some of that now, here. So grief is real. Grief has to be dealt with. And grief is part of having a chronic illness. And you don't have to do it alone. Find you a sounding board, be it an individual in counseling, be it a group of people, or talk about it, but don't sit in it too long. It's okay, because I've had a Saturday where I rotted in bed, but I didn't stay there. I talked myself up, and by Sunday, I'm up and doing something else, because time, you can't get it back. You just can't get it back. It's the one thing that you lose and you cannot get it back. Now, God can accelerate the promises, and suddenly everything that you missed, you get back, but you still gonna be the age you are, and those things are still going to be in the past, right? So we want to have fun. We want to make wise and good decisions. We don't want to live in the grief of it. We want to acknowledge it, deal with it, and work our way through it. But that's all I wanted to talk to y'all tonight about, is dealing with the grief and a chronic illness, dealing with grief and major life changes, dealing with grief and the loss of a career that you thought you were going to have. Grief comes in many forms, for many things, not just a chronic illness, but in many things. The grief of a loved one, the loss of a loved one. Like, I was sad when our mother died. I was sad because she was young. She was only, she would have been 80 this year, but oh my God. Woo. So let's see, Ezra is 11. Well, she might have been 70 when she died. I don't remember. The point is, yes, we grieved. But for me, and I don't know, I never asked my sister, but for me, we grew up in different eras of my mother's life. With me being 15 years older, I saw her, I knew she had an illness, but she was still moving, grooving, doing things that young women do, as opposed to when she got older and a little slower. By the time my sister came along, some of her illness had increased. So we had her at different moments in our lives. So for me, yes, it was sad that she was gone, that my grandkids wouldn't get to grow up with her, that my niece wouldn't have her anymore. But all I saw was she would not be in any more pain. She wouldn't have to sit down and count out pills. She wouldn't have to worry about her oxygen. So that for me, I don't want to say it was the good part, but it was the part that made grieving easier. Knowing that she's now in the arms of God and no more pain, standing upright, moving, grooving, and praising the Lord. Singing in the choir. She couldn't really hold the tune, but she liked to think she could. She's a good hummer. So she's in the choir. I know she's in the choir. So I know she good. And I know we'll get to see her again someday. Someday, not today. Someday, way over there. Someday, way, way down the line. We'll see her again. But yeah, don't ignore the grief. Work your way through the grief. Because if you ignore the grief, keep pushing it down, it'll hit you so hard. Because see, that's what I did. I tried to ignore it. And when it hit me so hard, I was ready to take my own life. I hope I wasn't supposed to say that, because you know certain things you can't say on this app, right? But God had better plans. God had much, 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 much better plans. So deal with the grief. Acknowledge the grief. At the time, I wish I had have gone to the different groups that were contacting me when they, you can get to the different groups. Kind of wish I had went, right? But I didn't. Dealt with it. And I'm over here now. It tries to rear its head sometimes. But for the most part, I know how to talk to it and get it in line. But that's all I got for y'all tonight. Deal with the grief. Pray about it. Find somebody to talk to. You don't have anybody to talk to? DM me. I'll talk to you. We can be pen pals or whatever it is nowadays, because that's what it's telling my age. Ooh, we'll be texting friends, whatever. Okay, but that's all I got for you. So y'all go have a good evening. Drink you some water. If you haven't moved your bodies today, do a little stretch and do something. Okay? Rest well. And if in the morning you want to do a little coffee and devotion time with me, 9 a.m. over on the book. Live, 9 a.m. If not, meet me back here tomorrow, 9 p.m. at night for the night pour. All right. Later, Gators. Bye.